What's up, everyone? David, Tyler, and Spencer here for episode 5 of our sub-series Table Talk. And on this episode, we are discussing tree stand placement, kind of how we go about picking where we put our stands for the year, and hunting strategies pretty much. So let's get it rolling.
When I'm thinking about tree stand placements, I'm thinking of pinch points, the valleys where deer are going to be crossing. They're going to want to take the path of least resistance. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to try to find those, but I'm also going to find those kind of hard to get spots, or hunting downwind of a bedding area, things like that. That's going to maybe put me give me an upper hand on these deer.
Deer are lazy, they'll take the easier trails. If you have four-wheeler trails, stuff like that are easy to travel for deer, they will definitely take those. Along with, if you know where a bedding area is, obviously it's good to be somewhere near it. Come November. Another thing I'll touch on is the food source. Whether you plant food plots, agricultural food sources, or just natural browsing, acorns, whatever it may be. If you know deer like to travel there, go for it. I'm a firm believer in that. Deer, it's simple: safety, food, and water. That's what it comes down to. So and that's for all types of the season. So if you really key in on that, I think you'll have some success.
Don't be afraid to move around a little bit. I know whenever I first started hunting, I would kind of get locked into one stand. I took the time to hang and I need to sit in it, to where that's not the case. Because whenever I hung the stand, I was focused all on early season movement and how they were moving in the summer, and I came to find out that that's not the same as what they're going to do in the fall. So hang stands based on what you think is going to happen and the deer movement that you are seeing in June, July, and August. But you got to realistically know things are going to change. So if they do change, if you can't physically move the stand, don't be afraid to climb down and go to a different spot and just sit there and maybe try hunting from the ground. Or if you have the luxury of having a climber or a hang-on stand that you can move and be mobile with, try that out and try a different spot.
Public land, I think those are still some key areas. Obviously, you're not going to have your food sources, but you're still want to. For me, I'm going to want to get back in there a little bit further. I'm trying to get away from people at this point, because as soon as you step in there, the deer step back, and you step a little bit further, and they're going a little bit further back. So you need to go past where all the people stop, kind of go to the deer. And if the people are, you're getting human sign all the way back there or wherever you're going, you got to find them hard to get spots, or some spots that maybe they're like, I don't think deer are gonna be in there, because the deer is gonna be there if that's where no one thinks they're gonna be at. And that's kind of what I'm looking for when I'm trying to hang a stand on public land, or looking for an area to set up on, or even gun season when I'm trying to cruise through, trying to save your buck.
If you are hunting public land, people are going to look for the easiest access, the shortest walk from their car, a place that if they shoot a deer they can drag it downhill. You have to be the one to do the tough work and hike that 2 miles back in and cross creeks and go up and down mountains, whatever it takes. But also on that same note, I know scouting an area this past weekend, some of the places that had the best buck sign were right off the road, right off the drive back in, because people are driving, like the parking lot was 200 yards off the road, so people would drive past these spots and the bucks just kind of got tucked in there. So you have to do your due diligence in scouting, and we'll do a video on that later, but you have to look for the areas that people aren't going, and just like Tyler just said.
Yeah, public land, if you guys watch the Hunting Public, you see those guys, they do a lot of crazy things to get deer. But in the same notion, Dan Infalt also has a video out where he literally kills, I believe it was a 4-year-old deer 60 yards off the road, because people that were hunting that public ground were just driving past that certain area and just overlooking it. So like Spencer touched on, if you notice a sign that people are just overlooking certain areas, it's never worth a shot. I do observation sits on private land. For my public land attack, it's going to kind of be, like you said, get away from the everyday pressure, outwork the other public land hunters and try and get in on deer. Besides that, I don't know what else to do, but go off of their sign.
Yeah.
My big thing for this upcoming season is I'm going to be more mobile. I'm going to have permanent stands per se, like some of my honey hole spots, like the bottom of Reedy's, and then a few of my other private land properties. But then I want to get more mobile. I'm tired of thinking okay, how you said, I put the stand up, I'm going to freaking hunt here. I moved one stand 3 times this year, and then I finally saw a mature deer. Third time was the charm. I finally saw him. So, and looking into Cody DeAcusto, Chad Sylvester from Exodus Trail Cameras, and even John Mulligan from Arrow Wild, those guys talk about a lot of, just getting aggressive, hunting more mobile, and, kind of being the aggressor when it comes to hunting these deer. Like Cody DeAcusto literally tries to hunt and pattern deer based off their tracks and trails, and that's it. So I'm not getting that super crazy with it, but I definitely want to be more mobile, especially if I can learn a pattern from a deer that I'm trying to hunt. Like if he's coming through an hour after dark, 3 days out of the week or whatever, try and make my move on him when it's the right weather and wind and everything like that.
That's a whole different animal.
Yeah. But the good thing is, we've put easily over 30 miles on public land this spring.
I'd say so, easily, yeah.
So, we've definitely scouted a little bit. Like, his hunt stand app looks like a Christmas tree with as many freaking red markers on it. Just from the sign that we're seeing and everything like that. But, so we're definitely learning as we go. We found a little bit of Kansas at one public land spot. But you never know. It's just going to come down to us getting out there, seeing how the deer are come season. Because obviously they could be doing this now, but, Lord knows the last time they were pressured, it was probably muzzleloader and gun season, really. So we're just going to have to find out when it comes to public land. Like I said, I'm essentially really green in that aspect. But like I said, taking on the more mobile aspect, I don't know. I don't want to sit back anymore. I've sat back and let deer be happy and safe and everything like that. Nope, I don't know. I just feel like I need to get more aggressive and just, either crowd a bedding area or, try and jump onto a weakness in his pattern, whatever it may be. So only time will tell. We'll see what happens.
I do think you need to really do your research as to what deer are doing when and why they're doing it. Like as I said earlier about hanging a stand in a spot that was off a summer pattern. If you hang a stand and it's late September or October, depending on when your state comes into season, those deer still might be on their summer patterns. I know farmers around us aren't harvesting their fields until mid-October to mid-November. So if the crops are still up, you might still get deer in the field before in legal shooting light before it gets dark. So you gotta know what your deer are doing on your private farm or in public lands, and if they are still on their summer pattern, then you can go off all those trail camera pictures that you had from the early season, and you can put a stand right on a field edge because you know that they're going to come out either right at shooting light or hopefully a little earlier. But once you gotta on private land, you gotta work with the farmer, whether you're the home or whether you're the landowner or whether you're hunting someone else's property. Learn when they're harvesting their fields and try and play off that.
Yeah.
If you know they're harvesting their fields mid to late September before season comes in, don't waste your time hanging a stand right on the field edge because the food's going to be gone whenever you're trying to hunt over it.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah, it never hurts to ask, whether it's the farmer or the landowner when he plans on picking his ag fields or whatever it may be. But yeah, when it comes to food, I really think that if you have the right ingredients based on public or private land, whatever it may be, I think you can get on a deer early season. Opening day, whatever it may be, because obviously, like you said, summer patterns. But as soon as they peel that velvet, it's like a light bulb goes off, and those deer just freaking everything changes. Then they realize, oh crap, we're about to start getting shot at again, and they go into a big cave and they don't come out until November. So plan for that. But in all seriousness, obviously, once they peel velvet, their patterns do change. So, like Spencer touched on, anticipate your buck and doe activity isn't going to change. Does, once they get to a pattern, they're going to stick to that, and it's really going to come down to does, food, and bedding. If they have a prime bedding area, learn that, embrace that. Don't freaking spook them. Let them be safe, because that can really help you come November. But those bucks, their patterns will change based on the does, based on rut, based on... Honestly, if they're not the biggest deer in the area, they might move out of the area. I've seen it happen. So be prepared for change, but, just let your cameras and what you're seeing on the hoof tell you what to do.
Alright, I hope you guys found our tips and tricks useful and can help you in this coming fall. Put your stands up where you need them, and hopefully you'll get lucky and get on some deer. If you find this video useful, go ahead and click that thumbs up button, subscribe to us. If you have any questions about some of the stuff we talked about or want to tell us your story and your tips, go ahead and comment them below. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. that wraps it up for episode 5 of Young Bucks Outdoors Table Talks. Hope to see you next time.